What's up, y'all? Got David Scruggs part two today, and there's a lot in here for everybody. So definitely listen till the end because we have how he got started making videos, which I think every inspector, no matter your experience, can learn from in terms of making online content, social media content. We do a little 2022 wrap up. We talk about agent retention, which is huge right now. I think everyone needs to be thinking about different ways to retain your agents, especially the high volume ones, especially the ones that are going to get busy again when things pick back up. And then we're going to talk about how to get your first couple inspections. So if you're a new inspector, even in your first year, it's worth hearing his take on how to get inspections. And then a couple good quotes in there and a couple good business approaches that David has that I think serve him well. So listen, enjoy, and appreciate everybody for listening as always. And please share the pod if you have home inspectors in your network or a local association, or even on social media. If you think this can help others, please share it. The bigger reach we have, the more we can continue to produce content and episodes and make them better. So thank you as always, and enjoy. All right. Well, we're rolling. Thanks for jumping on again, man. These are some of my favorite episodes when we do updates and kind of boomerangs, as we call them. We were just talking about our backgrounds. We both have different backgrounds and optimizing for light and kind of everything behind us. But how you doing, brother?
Doing amazing. We're doing really amazing. I mean, obviously, I noticed last year we were looking at the metrics from last year and this year. June, I've noticed June's a little slow in Florida, and I got quite a few real estate agents that I talk with quite a bit, and they're like, it's always like this, because kids are getting out of school, people are going on vacation, so people aren't buying houses as much. But I have stepped up my insurance inspection game a little bit. I want to do more, but I've stepped it up pretty well. And so it helped me kind of like continue going while people weren't doing as many moving and buying houses. So, but yeah, it's been an amazing ride. I mean, I know the last I talked, first off, I've had at least 50 inspectors, most of them brand new, coming in or haven't taken that leap yet, or even not even started getting certified yet. Have seen the podcasts, and I've got a YouTube channel now
Oh,
that I
sweet.
started, and yeah, I did like 3 or 4 videos last year, and then I got so swamped that I could not do anything, and then I was like, you know what, I got to pick this back up because I started getting more and more people sending me messages saying, "Hey, man, we want to update. Hey, we want to update." So it was pretty cool that I started getting more people wanting updates. So I started doing the videos. It kind of gave me the want to do it. And so I started doing more videos, and I think I've gotten like 4 or 5 more out. And it's, my videos aren't about, hey, I found all these defects. Hey, I know this, I know that. I've been told so many times that I'm completely different than any home inspector that most of the real estate agents have ever met. And it's because I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to tell you straight up, I don't know near as much as the next guy, but there's a lot more you get with me, than just knowing it all, and so it's pretty cool because I've kind of tailored my YouTube video to that. Like the new people coming on, hey, this is kind of how I do my inspection. It may not be like everybody else does it, but this is how I do it. And the other day I had one that was about like being having integrity, being honest, things like that. So it's kind of like one of those things where I figured I'd start tailoring it towards. And listen, I'm probably not going to get 1,000, views and likes, because it's mainly tailored towards those new guys that are thinking about making that leap. Because my very first video on that is you could see me in my Gatorade uniform, my mechanic uniform. We talked about that last time.
Yep.
And that first video is my transition from Gatorade to home inspections full time. So that video alone has gotten people calling me left and right saying, man, I want to do it. That's inspiration. And that's kind of how I'm doing it. I'm not in it to make the money or to get millions of views and likes. It's just nice to know that it's helping some of those people, give them a little bit of courage that they can do it. So it's kind of how it is. But so I started that back into that. I've so last year total from
But
February to November.
can we pause
What's
on the
that?
video creation first? I want to dig into that before we move on
Yes,
because
sir. Go ahead. What you got?
because it it's underutilized in our industry. Most inspectors don't take the advice to, hey, create content. It doesn't matter what it's about, create content. What got you over the hump to hitting record or play? And then also want to know kind of what your like software stack is, like what you're using to do your videos with, what you're recording them with, editing, things like that. But what got you over that confidence hump to start?
Well, the confidence hump was one of those things where it's like, I think this would be something great to document my transition from, because I watched when I first started thinking about getting a home inspection, I watched so many videos. I'm gonna throw one out there, A Action out of Texas, Chris. I watched every single one of his videos. I binge watched him, and we talked about this. I binge watched him when I had COVID,
Mhm.
right before I got certified. And so his videos are so awesome, gave so much insight. It really helped me really want to get into the business, but it didn't give me the confidence because he never really showed, like, what he transitioned from or what he did. So I had to take that leap of faith myself. So when I was starting to take that leap of faith, I had already, been doing the inspections for 5 months, part time, while I was still working full time at Gatorade. And so I was like, if I can document this transition, maybe this could help new guys when they're coming on, or wanting to make that leap, maybe to give them that confidence that I wish that somebody would have gave me through something like a YouTube,
Right.
because I looked for it, I didn't see it. All I seen was guys that's been in it forever. They find all these defects. Here's what we find. This is what we do every day. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I want to do it. But I wasn't sure about it. And so I wanted to put it out there that, hey, you can take this leap of faith. And, as long as you have all your ducks in a row, it's going to work out. So that's kind of what I wanted. And then I also made a video of the day in the life of a home inspector, which I did. I scheduled very light that day. I did, I think, 2 or 3 inspections, and I showed a little bit of them. And then I went and had a meeting with a realtor, for lunch, and I talked with him. So that all that stuff's on the video, kind of like a day in the life of, so people can get pumped. Oh, this is what you can do as a home inspector. So what made me take that leap is wanting to document that transition.
We'll link to the video. So did you hire someone to follow you around with a camera, or did you just kind of
No,
hold it
it was
yourself
me,
and kind of?
just me. I bought a GoPro, the newer GoPro. I forgot what number it is, but I bought a newer GoPro, and I got one of those little stick things, and it's just me on a stick. And I put a mount on the front of my truck, on the dashboard of my truck. So that way, when I'm talking in the truck, I can just mount it up there. And, when I'm walking around showing things or whatever, I got it in my hand. So it's just me. I didn't hire anybody. I mean, at the time, I really couldn't afford to hire anybody. It was just, I'm transitioning to this new job, and me and the wife weren't really sure if this was something that's going to work out. Like I said, we're faith driven people. We're Christian people. I knew it was going to work out, but sometimes the good Lord likes to drag you through a little mud before He gives you the gold at the end of the rainbow. And so that's kind of what I was expecting, and it really didn't do that. But either way, we were trying to be conscious. So I couldn't hire anybody. I just did it myself. So
Right on. So what other softwares or tools, did you discover or learn to use? Or, was that all, have you have a background in kind of like any video creation or editing?
no, I sure don't. The only thing I have a background in is Paint Shop Pro. I used to do this racing game online called iRacing, and I used to create uh, my own decals and stuff on my race car
Mhm.
because I didn't like what else was out there. So that's the only thing I learned how to do. So a lot of our posts on Facebook and Instagram that my wife does, I'll create it on Paint Shop Pro, and obviously I'll send it to her, and she does all the rest of the stuff, like the hashtags, stuff I don't understand. I'm not what you would call a real techie guy. I didn't grow up that way, but I still understand it, because I am a mechanic by trade. And it's kind of one of those things where I do the DaVinci Resolve 18. That's how I edit the videos.
Okay.
And I don't do too much editing. You could tell when you watch the videos that this is an amateur editor person. Um, but to be honest with you, I'm learning as I go, but I'm not trying to be a professional. I'm not doing YouTube to be a professional YouTuber. I'm just doing it to get some inspiration out there. And the video I chose, or the song I chose for the intro and the song I chose for the outro, is all based on a little bit of inspiration feeling in your heart when you're watching it. So, so that's kind of that's the whole reason I created it. So.
That's great. I mean, and that's the thing. I think the one thing most inspectors can take from this is no one's it doesn't need to be perfect. No one's expecting perfect. And the best content creators start off just hitting play and record and figuring it out as you go and make it, make it 0.5% or 1% better each time. But I applaud you for just, getting out there and putting your face out there and kind of giving back in a way too. I think like, putting out content that you wish you had when you were coming up. I think that's some of the best content that's out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wish I had more time to do it.
Yeah.
That's my only thing. If I had a little more time to do it, it would be I would be able to do. It wouldn't like look better or anything. It would just be more. I can give you more information, So, and then I had like a crash. I had a bunch of videos that I did back in like November, December, that I had that for some reason my SD card just wiped itself, and I had stopped doing the editing at that point anyways because I got a little bit busy and I couldn't do it. But I was trying to pull those videos back up to kind of like do like an old video dump, and I couldn't find them anymore. So I guess it wiped itself. But either way, it's like I said, it's just more about inspiring people. That's what I really like doing.
Yeah.
So.
You could do a Phil Dancer and do content as you're doing each job. Like he'll often film videos at like new build houses and as he's walking up, and he'll kind of incorporate the two, which I think is a cool deal. So speaking at the end of last year, we last time we chatted, I think you says October, November, right? So you were coming into the year. And how did the year finish up for you last year? Did you do year end numbers and kind of wrap and kind of like reflect on the year you had?
Yes. I mean, this is all about to me, like as far as making money from my family, it's all about the numbers, and I've got to make sure that they're there. So yeah, I mean, I'm a former baseball player as well, so numbers are always a thing to me. But yeah, I ended up with 255 inspections last year.
Nice.
When we had talked, I think I was somewhere in the 120 something, somewhere around there. And that's just from March of last year to December,
Right.
255 inspections. And I've had these people comment on some of the YouTube videos that I've done saying, you guys in Florida, you haven't made because you can get your numbers up by all these wind mitigation and 4-point inspections and stuff like that. But you know what? You still have to compete with all the other. I'm gonna tell you right now, I believe there's probably more home inspectors in Florida per capita than any other state in the United States. So just to be able to have those numbers that high, regardless of what kind of inspection you're doing, you're still putting food on your family's table. You're still, bringing the money home. You're still meeting new people. And so it's one of those things where I just look at it as a whole. Whether you're doing an insurance inspection or you're buying a home, to me, it's still an inspection because it's still an inspection that another home inspector didn't get, and I
Right.
did. So it's the same thing if you're in Montana and all you get is regular home inspections, whether you get it or extra, it's numbers. And so, but yeah, 255 I was not expecting that. That was pretty awesome. And I had, like I said, we had talked last time, I had 97 before I even started doing it full time. So and then I did another 158 more from August to December. October and November, I think I was somewhere in the mid 40s on how many inspections I had. So it just kept growing, Kevin, just kept growing it. And I didn't do anything different than just, and we're going to talk about client retention or customer or
Right.
agent retention on this, because I would like to give a little bit of help to some of those people out there on how to retain your agents. But I didn't do anything different. I was just me, just who I am, and the word got out there. I just kept getting people calling me saying, hey, I'm Jim, and I was referred to you by this person. I'm not putting any ads out there, Kevin. No ads, no nothing. I am on Google, which I have like 178 5-star reviews now. We're at
Beautiful.
114 from March until December, and then I've gotten to 178 now. So it's an amazing ride. You know, because of those insurance inspections, we're going to move into 2023, in I think it was March, I did 73 inspections. So about around half of those were insurance inspections and the other half are full home inspections. But even if I didn't have the insurance inspections, that would have been like 30 some inspections. That's an inspection a day. And that's kind of where my goal was, to have an inspection a day at the very beginning. And I'm way past that. And we were just calculating, the wife and I, we're at 350 inspections already this year, and we're halfway through the year. My goal was to double last year's production, and I'm already way past that. So, and again, not do anything different. I'm going to give everybody some tips on how to retain the people you have, the clients you have, or the agents you have. But I'm not doing anything different. I'm just going out there and doing what you should be doing as a home inspector. So
Yeah, so we'll dive into these tips here in a second. So this year the slowdown, the rise in interest rates hasn't impacted you a ton, it sounds like. Is that a regional thing, or is it or have you seen a little bit of a downtick? Because I think a lot of markets are seeing a little less volume, but the great inspectors are still busy, is what I'm hearing.
correct. So and I'm not going to say I'm a great inspector. Everything happens for a reason. And so I believe that I was put in certain situations, certain places for a reason, and I've met certain people. Um, and that's kind of it's kind of hard to explain, but the agents that I have, they know how to sell homes. It's not always about the home inspector being the best home inspector out there or whatever it may be, or putting all the Google ads out there. It's a lot about the agents you have, because if the agents you have don't know how to deal with a market that's slow, then you're going to be slow. And I have quite a few agents that are really good at what they do. And it's kind of funny how I ran into some of these. One of them, I just went and did a lunch and learn at a realty that I just asked him. And they was like, "Yeah, you can come do a lunch and learn." And he actually ended up leaving that office, that broker office, and went somewhere else. But he started using me. And this guy he's a producer. And then I met another lady, Alignable. I think I talked about this one last time. She's my highest producing agent. She was somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 8 inspections for me a month. She
Wow.
slowed down a little bit. Yeah, she slowed down a little bit, but she's still producing. And then what's the other one? I mean, I have a few more, but either way, they know how to talk. Oh, Wheatley Realty in Claremont. Every one of their agents use me. Matt himself, they know what they're doing. And so in this time where it's slowed down as far as the home buying stuff and the home selling, they're still getting clients because they know what they do and their name's out there. So for me to run into them all of a sudden the right time, was a blessing, because now that's a constant thing for me. Because if you had an agent that just didn't know what they were doing, like right now, they've opened up that Hometown Heroes program to every first-time home buyer. You don't have to be like military. You don't have to be police or anything like that. It's any first-time home buyer that qualifies. So these people, these agents know what they're doing. They're like, that's what they're marketing, and the ones that are slow, I can tell, that use me all the time, that are slow because they're not really marketing properly. So, but what I've done is I've started hitting the insurance companies a lot more, because in Florida, Florida's a different state, right? So in Florida, you can have a slowdown in the home buying going on, purchasing, but people are always going to need insurance inspections, always. So if I can continue growing that side of my business, which I've done a pretty good job of, it's going to keep me busy when homes aren't selling or buying, or people aren't buying. It's going to keep me going until that picks back up again. So that's how I have seen a lot of home inspectors go under here recently. And it's because all they care about is that $500 home inspection for somebody buying a home. They're not thinking about, hey, there's other parts of this business. And I mean, I've got some things that I'm going to announce. I've purchased some gear to do mold testing.
Nice.
So I can do mold sampling, air quality testing, things like that. I'm wanting to expand my business. I feel like I've already done a really good job on getting a lot of agents that use me exclusively. I'm not in their top 3, they call me. They don't even give their clients a chance. Call me and they say schedule. I just had one like an hour ago. He just texted me saying, "Hey, can you schedule this inspection for me?" I mean, that's it. The only time I meet the client is when I get to the inspection, you know? So that's kind of a cool thing that I have those people that trust me so much that they just say, "Hey, schedule this." And they've talked me up so much to their client that their client don't care about the price. They're like, "Yeah, let's get it done," you
Yeah.
know? But again, I'm wanting to grow other ends of my business. So getting more insurance companies out there that to use me, doing the mold testing stuff, getting the gear, just expanding different sections. I've stepped my game up as far as well inspections. I actually have a company out of Orlando that does my water quality for me. I take the samples, they send me this cooler with ice packs, and I go out and I do the sample, and I put it all back in there, and I overnight it to them. They give me the overnight slip and everything. I don't pay for anything other than just the box, and then of course I charge the client for that, whatever. So now I don't have to worry about, hey, did this turn out not so good with this testing kit, because it's a professional lab, So it's just I'm just I know I'm all over the place, but it's just I'm trying to open my eyes to other things, because you never know when the home's going to slow down, when the buying's going to slow down.
Yeah, expansion revenue, other revenue streams. It's clear playbook for this year, and it's awesome that you're doing it. So let's get into some of the agent retention stuff, because this is a year where no matter which market you're in, it is about retaining the agents that you've worked with before, and like you said,
Yep.
sticking with the producers, because say we do hit a slowdown, say we do fall into a recession, whatever you want to call it, those relationships are going to matter. So yeah, tell me a little bit about how you even think about agent retention, and then we can get into some like strategies and tactics as well.
Yeah. So my number one thing, number one thing, the first thing you got to do is you got to build that trust, and that's everybody knows that. Okay, you got to build that foundation. I've seen and heard from agents, from what other home inspectors have done, is they try to be like friendly, like best friends with them right away, and agents just don't work that way. I kind of, I guess it's just my personality. I just kind of say, "Hey, you give me that chance." And I think I said this last time. You give me one chance, and you're going to use me from now on. I have still to this day not lost an agent. You know, every single one that I've gained still uses me. So it's one of those things where I started building that trust from the very beginning. And how you build that trust is do your job. I hear all the time somebody telling me my last inspector didn't even go in the attic, or my last inspector didn't even step on the roof, or my last inspector. It's like, what are y'all doing? You know, and so now I'm understanding why some of these guys are charging $299 for a full home inspection in
Right.
Florida, because they're there for 30 45 minutes, which is another thing I've heard. There for 30 or 45 minutes, they take pictures, they leave, the report comes 2 days later. you know and so it's like, what, they're taking these inspections away from people that actually do it the right way, and putting a bad taste in people's mouth about home inspectors, and it's very aggravating. And I know a couple of companies around here, that I keep hearing over and over again from people. But either way, you got to build that foundation, that trust, and the first inspection you get with a real estate agent, you've got to just give them that confidence that you're going to take care of them and their client, right? And whenever you and this seems to happen to me all the time, when the agent uses me for the first time, the house is not so great. It's like I get there and I'm like, oh man, goodness gracious. But it's how you break the news to their client. All right. And this is another thing. Don't scare their client. That's going to be another tip number two, we'll say, right?
Mhm.
Don't scare their client, because I get it all the time to where, I had this one company called me in, this broker company called me in to have an interview with me. It's like I'm interviewing with them. They're like, "Hey, we just want to talk to you because our last inspector, we didn't appreciate him because he was taking a picture of walls and there was nothing wrong with the walls, and saying there's cracks all over this house." And I'm like, "Okay, there's cracks all over every house in Florida. The heat and humidity causes cracking. It's not a foundation problem. It's just a normal thing that happens in Florida. I see a home that I go do a new construction inspection on that just got done being built. There's already cracks on it. It happens in Florida. The heat and humidity tears stucco up here." And they're like, "Oh, well, we're using you from now on." you know? So it's like, don't scare your client, or don't scare your clients and your agents' clients. Another one that I live by is go above and beyond. I hear this all the time to where it's like, well, I'll charge you 200 or $450 for this inspection. I'm not doing that because that's not part of this $450. You know, you never know, Kevin, who you're going to meet on a home inspection. Okay. And I have gained so many real estate agents and people that call me afterwards for insurance inspections, or have their friend call me or their family member call me because they have said, hey, can you look at this? And they're like, no problem. I'll take a look at it. You know, I don't say, hey, oh, this is not part of a home inspection, but I'll look at it for you. I'll just say yes. Yes, I'm like that movie with Jim Carrey. Yes, man. Yes, I'll take a look at it. You
Yeah.
know, because once you're done looking at it, let's just say sprinkler system, right? That's not really part of a home inspection, right? But if you want me to look at it, I know how to work them. I'll go turn it on for you. I'll look at the sprinklers. What's it going to take me, another 5 or 10 minutes at the inspection? So it's going above and beyond. I think I told this story last time about a guy that couldn't move around. He's an older fellow and he really couldn't afford the insurance inspection, blowing leaves off his roof. I did that. That has got me 58 other inspections since then from an insurance agent that he was using. You know, things like that. Go above and beyond. Don't don't force the issue. All right. But if you see the opportunity, seize that opportunity, right? And don't make a big deal about it. Don't be, I'm doing this a favor for you or nothing like that. Just do it. It's in my heart to do stuff like that. And that has got me so many referrals. It is ridiculous. It's like, hey, this person spoke very highly of you. I need you to come do I'm buying a house, whatever. I'm having a house built. And I honestly don't remember who that person was because it's probably like 50 or 70 inspections ago. But it's good to hear somebody say, hey, this person referred you, said you're the guy to call, right? And you have probably hundreds of home inspectors around me, and for somebody to say you got to call this guy, it really keeps me going every day, as far as the business and keep wanting to grow. The other one is be willing to do an inspection anytime and any day. We have some problems around here with some inspectors that don't want to work the weekends. They don't want to work past 4 o'clock. I'll get the call all the time, and somebody will say, hey, do you have any openings? And I'll be like, well, as long as the sun's not down, I can go there after this day. Because they're like, hey, we have to have it done in 3 days because we messed up and blah, 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 blah. No problem. I'll take care of you. And I probably was higher priced than the last person, but they couldn't get to them until Monday. And I was like, you know what? I'll be there 4 o'clock Friday afternoon, or hey, I'll go ahead and do this tomorrow morning, Saturday morning for you. I'll get you taken care of. So that's an inspection that I got that somebody else could have got because they're like, oh, I don't want to work weekend, or I don't want to work too late. So you've got to be willing to work hours that are weird. I have actually been to an inspection at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay. I had an inspection scheduled at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday, and I had nothing. I was packed up. Right. And they're like, we have to have this done in 5 days. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it 6 o'clock Wednesday morning. They're like, what? And I was like, I'm going to do it 6 o'clock Wednesday morning. You don't have to be there. You don't have to be there until 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, or whatever. But I'm going to get there at 6 o'clock in the morning. And it was dark when I got there. Right. It was dark. But I went ahead and turned the lights on the inside. I did all the inside. I did it reverse what I normally do. I did the inside inspection, got all of it done. And then I came to the outside once the lights come or the sun came up, and I did the roof and I did the outside. Then they finally showed up, and I went over everything, and I was able to get an extra inspection in, just by doing that. I've done an inspection to where I've got there just before dark, got the outside and the roof done. There's lights on the inside of a house. You can finish it up. So you got to be willing to be flexible, because that really impresses real estate agents, because they're like, man, this guy, if I want to try to win this bid and do like a 3-day inspection period, I know I can call David with Firebase and he'll figure out a way to get me in. And so that right there has retained a lot of my agents. Just obviously there's other things, but that's one of the things they really love about me is I'll figure out a way to get them in. So here's the other one: answer your stinking phone. That is something that I cannot believe. I've heard this before. I was watching a Ben Gromiko marketing video that said that he would not believe how many inspectors we called and didn't answer the phone off the InterNACHI thing. So I had a friend of mine that was moving up to Charlotte, North Carolina, and she's part of a marketing group that I'm with. And she was like, "Hey, do you know any inspectors up there?" I was like, "I do not, but I know I'm going to look for an InterNACHI certified inspector, so I'll find one for you." So I get on InterNACHI's site and I look up the zip code and had started calling home inspectors. You would not believe I called 14 people before the first person to answer the phone.
No.
14 people. How are people making money not answering the phone? You know, and here's the thing: I skipped by those people that didn't have websites. You know, because I remember watching a marketing video. Binger Maker said, "Listen, if you don't have a website on there, I'm gonna skip right past you." So I started thinking to myself, if I'm going to refer my friend to this person, if you don't have a website, then you don't care enough about your business, right? So I skipped by those. So these are 14 people that had websites that didn't answer the phone. The 15th person answered the phone, and I was like, all right, so I'll talk to her and send her her your information. And so I go to look him up, and he's got a 3.4 rating out of 5 stars. And I was like, I can't refer my friend to this person. So one of those 14 people finally called me back, right? So I answered, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I have no problem, no problem. I'm sorry I missed your phone call." I was like, "Oh, it's okay, it's understandable. Glad you called me back." And I was like, "So I'm going to send her. I'm going to give her your number. You can talk with her." He was like, "All right, well, can you? What I need you to do, I need you to have her send me her name, text me her name, text me what address it is, text me this." And I'm like, "Listen, bud, I'm a business owner like you. I'm not your secretary. So if you called me saying that one of your friends were moving down here, I would say have her call me right now and I will schedule this for her. I would not be asking you to be my secretary to give me all this information, give her all this information." I said, "So I'm going to have her call you." And he was like, "Well, if tell her if I don't answer to send me a text." And I was like, "You know what, bud? She won't be calling you." So I ended up having to just Google a home inspector in the area, that's got great ratings, and I gave it to her. And I told her, "I'm sorry, you know, I failed you as far as the InterNACHI inspector, but here's a 5 star rated person that got a lot of 5 stars." So I tried my best, because I'm an InterNACHI, certified inspector myself. But if you don't answer the phone, how do you expect to have? Listen, here's what's funny, Kevin. I have agents that would first started using me. When I would call them for something like a gate code or house code or something like that, they wouldn't answer the phone. I'd sit there and wait. But they have used me so many times, and they know that as soon as they call me, I'm picking up the phone. Me picking up the phone every single time. Right now, when I call, they all answer the phone right away. So I'm starting a trend with them. They understand that, hey, it's only fair if I'm calling him, he answers, even if I'm in front of a customer, it doesn't matter. I'm going to say, "Hold on a second, answer the phone." "Okay, that's fine. Can I call you back in 5 minutes? I'm talking with a client." That's how I do it. Right. So you hear my voice and I'm going to call you back. Right. Now they do the same thing. They're like, "Hey, I'm on a showing right now. Can I call you back?" "Yes, you sure can." You know what I'm saying? So at the first, they didn't do that. So it's kind of cool how I've kind of, they know I do it for them, so they do it for me. It's kind of I scratch your back, you scratch my back thing. So answer your phone. That's very important to me. All right. And here's another one. The last one I'm gonna give, and we can go doing something else. Is you got to have a great support team around you. Okay. My last YouTube video speaks about this. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not. I was doing an inspection on an empty home. I'm going to read it to you, but
Mhm.
and I found this on a windowsill, right? Sitting on a windowsill. And it says, "Even the greatest of wells is helpless in the middle of a desert." And so I kind of live by that, not that exact saying, but a lot of problems that I find, and I've spoken to a few home inspectors. I say a few, I've spoken to quite a bit, but it's like every time I talk to one, they know everything there is to know. It's like, "I know this, I know that, I know this, I know that." Don't forget your support team. Okay. Like me, my support team is my wife. She just left the school system. She's helping me full time now. This is Firebase's home. You know, this is our home right here. This is our home office. That we're building. It's still kind of under construction, but she's going to be working here full time. helping me with scheduling inspections, helping me with all the kinds of stuff. Right now, she's going through Spector because I'm not very good on when I'm adding something in while I'm on the inspection. I'll like put on instead of THE to be THR because I'm fat thumbing it out there in the field. So she's going through it, cleaning up all that stuff for me, which is nice. She's going to be eventually helping me answer the phones. I'm not going to put that on her right now, but when she gets comfortable and have her answer the phone, she's going to get internationally certified as well. That way she can talk to the client and know what she's talking about whenever she's explaining stuff. And that way we thought about hiring somebody this year because we got that busy, but instead I told her, I was like, why don't we just pull you out of the school system and you can help me with the office stuff, and that's going to free me up to do a few more inspections every day, or 4 or 5 more a week or whatever. And then maybe next year, beginning of next year, we'll look at hiring somebody. But yeah, it's you got to make sure you got the support team. One of the things the agents love about me is if they don't have a referral for somebody, they'll call me. They'll call me 8 o'clock at night. They'll call me at 7 in the morning. They'll be like, hey, do you know a roofer? Hey, do you know somebody for insurance? Hey, do you know this? Do you know that? And I have a referral for pretty much everything because I'm part of a marketing group called BNI. So I can say yes. And the cool thing about most of the people I know in BNI is when you call them, they answer the phone. So I got a roofing guy that if I'm on the roof and I see it's bad and I know I'm going to have to tell the client they're going to have to get it replaced before closing or whatever, the first thing I do is I get my little wheel out and I'll do the measurements, and then I'll text it to him and call him and say, get me a quote real quick, please. He'll get to me in less than 30 minutes. So that way I can look good in front of the client and the agents. And here is your estimate from a roofing company. It may vary a couple $100 here or there, but here's your estimate. That way you can get your money, $10,000 off your addendum or whatever it may be, from the sellers without having to deal with it yourself. Here's proof from a roofing company, and it also helps him because then they can call him and say, hey, we need to go and get the roof replaced or whatever. And that company, actually, there's 3 companies that actually use me exclusively for the roof inspections. So they go replace the roof. They have it in the client's, clause that they pay, not the client, but the roofing company pays me to go do the roof inspection. It does 2 things. It gives them a free wind mitigation inspection, turn it to your insurance company to get a premium reduction, and I do the actual inspection with my boots on the roof to tell that roofing company your guys messed up on this, and then they'll come back out and fix it. So it's kind of helping them out as well. And so that's pretty cool how that works. I got about 5 insurance agencies that refer me to all their clients. They just say, you got to call David, call David, call David. So it's growing that way to where it's like, I just meet this person and it just flourishes, it just takes off. And without I'm not doing any advertising. I see people out there advertising all the time. And most people just skip right by those sponsored ads. They're going to go to that #1 home inspector. And in my area, I'm #1. So I've worked very hard to get here, and I'm not relinquishing it. And the cool part about my area is it's growing. They're building houses like crazy. So 3 to 5 years from now, those people are going to be selling those houses. The new people are going to be coming in. They're going to be Googling home inspector near me. Fire-based home inspection is #1. So, but yeah, I just wanted to give a little insight on how to retain your agents, how I've been retaining my agents, and mostly it's just about doing your job. Don't scare their clients. Go above and beyond when you get the chance. Be willing to do inspections at any time or any day. Answer your phone, and have a good support team. So that's what I got as far as that goes.
This is what I love about a majority of those is that it's rooted in who you are and what your values are, just how you conduct yourself around people, how helpful you are, because that's not a magic bullet that some people want to hear. Some people want to just say, oh, you just do a newsletter, send them this, go by and drop cookies. And just being helpful, it makes me think of my dad, because my dad's one of those guys where he can't walk by like a baseboard or a broken door or anything that's scuffed. Like he just has to help. He's just one of those helpful people where he'll turn a screw if he sees it loose, as opposed to being like, I'm not here to do that, or that's not my job. And it made me think of him when you said, just be helpful, because people remember that. And I think that that's a huge theme for me when I think of you is people remember how you made them feel as
Yep.
opposed to, oh, he sends me an email every week, so what? Like there's no emotion attached to that, as opposed to like you looking at someone's sprinkler system, they might be like, damn, that was helpful. He didn't have to do that. Like that, I think that's a great example. So
That's the thing, Kevin, is I hear that all the time. The emails, taking bottles of wine, doing all these lunch and learns. I've done a few lunch and learns, but I don't waste my time or money on all that stuff. The only times I've really done a lunch and learn, other than maybe one or two, is when the agency invited me in there to do it.
sure.
You know, and that's the thing, is they see that all the time. You were an agent at one time. You're a real estate agent. All these tactics that the home inspectors do. Binger Miko has been one of the I have I mean a lot of what I'm doing is when I watch Binger Miko be different. Okay. It's not hard for me to be different because I'm already different. I'm not your typical home inspector. I always tell people I'm not a home inspector. I'm just a very friendly person, just happens to do home inspections. Um, and that's the thing, is I'm already different, and people see that from the very start. And it's like people are drawn to that. And it's not, you know, it's funny because, my wife's like, don't be giving up secrets, to what we're doing and stuff like that. But it's not a secret thing. This is not secrets. And you know what? You can't be me, right? You can't be me. So you might not be able to do what I do. You may have to figure out your own thing. It's just who I am, and it just seems to attract people more and more. And it's working great. It's working great. I mean, we're very blessed. So
I like that though. And everyone has to lean into their strengths and who they are, and their experiences and upbringing all play into who we are and how we show up every day, right? And how we connect with people. And so if nothing else, it's a call to people to say, like, look within, look at your skill sets, look at how you connect with people, what you have in common, and continually try and grow yourself. And that's the key, I think, and that's the hard answer, because it's not a tactic you read in a book. And what you just gave is, to me, the hunger ones also kind of excites me to hear, where some people need to decide why they're doing this. Do you want to grow and be successful and make six figures and beyond and grow your team? Or do you want a lifestyle business where you can have your cake and eat it too? Because it doesn't work that way. I think
yeah,
agents want to work with people that are in the business and that will answer their damn phone. And so that one to me really resonated. Even the first couple years of Spectora, I had no work-life balance because I didn't want a work-life balance. I wanted
yeah,
to I wanted to grow a company and win and win people over. And I think that's for first year inspectors listening. I think it takes that level of intensity to get there. And I
yeah,
think you're a great example of that, and you're still going. And so that's, you can optimize for work-life balance in a couple years, right? When you have multiple inspectors, multiple admins.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I had, like I was telling you, I had so many inspectors calling me after that last podcast. And if you remember there towards the end of the podcast, I said, call me, try me. You know what I'm saying? Call me. I'll answer the phone. And it's so many have called me, and they're like, man, you do answer the
you did
phone,
answer. You followed
Yeah.
through. Yeah.
And that's the thing, is it's normal to me. I can't stand a phone ringing. I can't, my phone's never on silent. I can't stand it ringing. I'm going to answer the phone. And I'm like, yeah, I answer the phone. The other guy's like, oh, I didn't realize I was going to get a hold of you. I'm like, yeah, that's my phone.
And that
So
is different nowadays because people don't expect anyone to answer the phone. So it's hilarious to me that just by answering the phone, you are differentiating yourself in a world
yeah,
where no one answers the phone anymore.
yeah. And then I get these guys, they're like, hey, I just started, I guess, a certified, this one guy, I'm not going to say areas of where they're at, but he was like, I've been doing this for about 4 months now, and I'm just not getting, what did you do to get your first few? I've done this training, I'm advancing this, I'm advancing that, I'm advancing this, blah, 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 blah. And he talked to me for like 10 minutes about all his certifications. And I was like, hey, bud, there's your problem. It's not about the certifications you got. It's about who you are. It's about how you carry yourself, and how you deal with your clients, and how you talk to your agents. It's not about what you know. If you're going up to these agents and saying, here, I'm certified in this, I knew this, I knew that. And that's your problem. You just got to say, you got to stop and say, hey, my name's David Scruggs. I'm the owner of Firebase Home Inspections. What kind of inspections do you need? Or, what are you looking for in a home inspector? Get them talking to you. Don't be telling that. They hear this all the time. This other guy called me. He's like, hey, I've been doing this for a month and I've only gotten 2 phone calls. I'm like, well, that's not bad. You've only been doing it a month. I was like, I only got a couple phone calls my first month.
Yeah.
You got to be patient. And he was like, well, I got certified in this and that. And I was like, listen, I'm hearing this from all the new guys who've been calling me. Not all of them, but a lot of them want to tell me how smart they are and how long they've been a contractor or how long they've been doing this. And I'm like, listen, it's not about how much you know. It's about how you carry yourself. That's what
Mm.
the agents want. They want somebody that's going to be there and responsive and good with their clients. They not one time has anybody ever asked me, what are you certified in? Or who certified you? It's just it just boggles my mind, and I had this guy that's been around here. I went to my son's end of the year school year thing, and he was like, hey, I seen you. He's another bigger company around here, and he's the owner. He was like, I seen you Inspector podcast, and he hands me this crinkled card. He was like, hey, call me anytime. I'm looking at the card. I'm like, it's a crinkled card. How are you handing people crinkled cards? You don't have a good card in your pocket to give somebody? It's about it. That's the thing is I think a lot of people have gotten too comfortable around here, and we're sneaking up on them. As a small company, we are sneaking up on them because they've gotten too comfortable, they've gotten too big, and they've forgotten where they were. And the thing about Firebase Home Inspections is we're never going to forget how we started. I've told all my real estate agents that when I do hire somebody to do inspections, he's going to do my insurance inspections only for at least 6 months or so. Y'all never seen. It's still going to be me doing an inspection with you. And even if he does do one of your inspections, especially if it's one of my clients has been, or my agents has been with me from the beginning, even if he does inspection, I'm going to be there with him. I don't want to lose that relationship because that's where a lot of these bigger guys have forgotten where they started. Because I hear that all the time too. They just got too big, so we're looking for somebody new. I'm like, well, I'm your guy. So, it boggles me sometimes what people forget where they came from.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I love it. Going back to basics. I think people have gotten too comfortable with the bull market that we've been through, and it's opening up lanes for people like yourself, though, where the fundamentals matter, and you're winning, and I'm happy for you, brother.
yeah, it's awesome, man. And let me tell you something. Last year we had talked about me competing with these bigger companies, and we weren't ready to pull the trigger quite yet on you guys helping us with the website. But I started looking into ways that I can grow the business more, the mold testing and things like that. So this year when we go to renew, we're definitely having you guys do our website from now on. So we've gotten to the point where we can afford it with no problem now.
That's great. New
So,
level, new level, new. Yeah,
yeah,
I love it.
yeah. So I want to step that game up there on that end.
Yeah.
I don't get a whole lot of people that go online and schedule, and I'm okay with that. I want the website to look pretty and professional for when people go. It looks pretty good right now, but I want to take that game higher. So when somebody does look me up on Google and they look at my website, they see how pretty and how nice it is and give them information. But for the most part, people don't go and schedule online. They call me, and that's kind of how I like it. So, we're talking about growing, and I know eventually I'm going to have to give that up a little bit. But I've told all my real estate agents, you call me. Even if I do get my wife to where she's answering the phone or whatever it may be, you can call me anytime you want. I'm going to answer the phone. So, but yeah, I'm having you guys do the website this year. I've lost 35 pounds. I don't know if you can notice that in the face at all.
You look good.
But since the last time, yeah, if you go look at the old video, guys, you'll see I've lost quite a bit of weight. But yeah, I've lost
Congrats.
35 pounds. So yeah, so I'm trying to look image wise, Firebase home inspections. When I go out places, I don't want them to see this chubby guy, this almost 300-pound guy, and say, how's he getting attics? Even though I was one of the few getting in the attics at almost 300
Right,
pounds.
right.
But yeah, I'm down to 245 now. So my goal is to get down to 200.
I
And
love it.
so I'm going to continue moving on that. So I'm just trying to improve every facet of my life, and It's been an amazing ride. That my number one goal this year was to get my wife out of the school system to help me full time. We've accomplished that. So she's helping me full time now. We're gonna homeschool our little 7-year-old, and that was my goal for this year, and to hit double the amount of inspections, which I'm gonna be past that. Revenue wise, it's we're kicking butt. So
Man.
um,
Hey guys, David had a power outage, I believe, at his house, and so there's a little bit of an abrupt ending there, but we were close to wrapping up anyway. So that's the reason for the sudden ending. So one thing in parting that I want to leave with you guys: if you have someone or know an inspector, it doesn't even have to be an inspector. It can be a growth team member, an agent, an admin, anyone in your network that you know that has a great story to tell or has insight or anything in this industry that you feel like would be a good story to tell, definitely send them our way. Shoot us an email and we'd love to have them on the pod, or you yourself, if there's any areas where you feel like you're strong in or any areas you just want to really talk about and get out there. So thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you next time.